Today, I am delighted to welcome Stephanie McNamara, personal stylist, wardrobe consultant, and image expert. And this is the Women and the Businesses They Own podcast. And I am Shari Hooper at Summit Wealth Partners. And so Stephanie has been doing this for 30 years. She has helped women build confidence through personal style. She's been guiding them in creating wardrobes that not only look beautiful, but authentically reflect who they are. Having represented prestigious designer collections, including Carlisle and now Lafayette 148, Stephanie has become a trusted resource for women who want to look and feel their very best. Through wardrobe building, closet edits, personal shopping, and image consulting, she helps clients tell their unique story through what they wear. Stephanie believes that your wardrobe is a silent language you speak every day. And today she's joining us to share her style or how style and confidence and authenticity can transform not only how we look, but how we show up in the world. That's an incredible amount of work that you do, Stephanie. I'm so glad to have you on the show today. And the very first question that I always like to ask is tell us a little bit more about yourself, both personally and professionally.
Well, Sherry, first of all, I want to thank you for this opportunity. And honestly, the question that you asked gave me some pause to think about how I wound up where I am today. And um, it reminded me of a John Lennon quote in which he said, "Life is what happens when you're making other plans." And while I didn't really plan to do this, it is where I am meant to be, and through a series of changes in life and opportunities, I am where I was meant to be. Who I am personally, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I was a stepmother, I was a widow for 23 years, and part of that was impetus to do a business on my own. And I was fortunate enough then when my daughter was not quite 5 to take on the Carlisle business, which was a wardrobing business. It allowed me to stay at home. It allowed me to be my own boss, which at this point in life, I often say I would be a terrible employee because I've spent so much time being my own boss that it would be hard for me to be an employee. But I've loved it. I've loved the opportunity to work with women, to help them to be more self-confident, to show up in the world authentically. It is my métier. It is my calling in life. And there was a time at which I thought, oh, her headstone is going to say she dressed well, and that wasn't a very good um, indication of who I am. And I've come to understand that while I love good clothes and I love showing up in the world, I love helping others to feel that same confidence and to find themselves with their clothing and their style and their presentation.
I think that's wonderful. So many things came to mind when you said that, but the first one really was thinking you said you were meant to do this. When did you actually feel or know or what hit you when you realized this is what I meant to do?
I don't know that I can point to one lightning bolt moment. It has been the process of doing this over the years and seeing women that I have helped excel. I've worked with some female politicians and worked with them on their presentation. It's something I call sort of the set it and forget it. There are so many things in life that we do not have control over. So many things. But how we present is totally within our own control. And so if you spend a little time honing in on who you are and what you want to say with the clothing you wear, once you've set that, then especially for a politician, but even for a businesswoman or a mother, you then are not fussing about what you're wearing and if the length is right or if your shoes are polished. Once you've done that, then the content of what you have to say can come front and forward. And that's a gift to people to allow them to do that, to allow them to give their message in a way that is cogent and understood and not have people fussing about how they look.
Hmm.
It's a gift to them.
Yeah, do you think it comes naturally to some people or easy to some people and not others to be able to have
I think
the,
that's true. I think
yeah,
that's true. And I think some of that has to do with personal self-confidence and
okay.
trusting yourself. But it is an acquired skill. It is something you can acquire if you pay attention to it. Part of that closet audit that we'll talk about is looking at the things that serve you well and deleting those that don't. Um, Getting away from the things that once served you well that no longer serve you. If you're hanging on to items that are two sizes too small and 2 decades old because you might wear it again or there might come an opportunity, you've built a very toxic relationship with the things you have in your wardrobe and they don't serve you. It doesn't serve you. The other biggest issue I find with women is their inability to dress for the size and the place that they're in right now. Every woman deserves to look their very best right now, not 5 pounds from now, not 10 pounds from now, not when they get their hair colored, not when they have found the perfect outfit. Every woman deserves to look their very best right now. And that's an issue I see very often with women not having confidence in themselves and who they are right now.
I agree with you in that statement. I mean, I think it took you saying it for me to really recognize that that's true. So many people are setting these goals for themselves, and when they achieve that goal,
Yeah.
then they'll get a new wardrobe, or then they'll do something a little bit differently instead of just looking their best today for whatever shape that we are, then just dressing the best for you. And it does seem like everybody's shape is being accepted today. At least in my mind, it seems like everybody's beautiful.
Well, there certainly has been an emphasis on that,
Yeah.
from back in the day when the super, super skinny models were the ideal. There's still a bit of that I think we have to be concerned about for our children with Instagram worthy
Oh,
and
yeah.
AI creating this perfect image of people who aren't very perfect. If you scratch the surface, none of us are. And if in fact there is body positivity, I'm all for it. But what I see so
Mhm.
often with the women that I work with is a perfectly beautiful woman is fussing about 5 pounds
Mm.
or fussing about that next opportunity to feel better, to look better, to be stronger,
Yeah.
instead of embracing right now. You're as young as you'll ever be,
That's true.
and you might as well embrace that and embrace the you that you are now. So,
Yes. And then just, I guess at that point, I mean, is embracing you today and then owning that and then looking your best, wear the right type of colors or wear the right type of clothing or belt or no belt. I mean, there are certain things that make you look better no matter what size you are. And so that's ultimately, I think, where you come in is you have the ability to just look at somebody and just kind of help them with not just with selling the product, but actually knowing more about the colors or the to be able to help them with the type of clothing that they should wear or stay away from or different things like that. That's kind of how I interpret a little bit more about what you're doing, but help me clarify that a little bit more so.
yeah, absolutely. For me, it's never been about just selling the clothes. It's really selling the self-confidence. And I think one of my superpowers is wardrobing, is helping people to select items that work together that give them lots of opportunities, lots of outfits to wear. So it's not necessarily about buying more clothing, but buying well. There is a kind of French ethic, which French women buy the absolutely best quality that they can buy. They may save up, a shop girl may save up until she can buy an expensive handbag or an expensive pair of shoes. And then she'll wear those shoes 5 days a week, a beautiful skirt, and just change the accessories. It's not necessarily about more, but about having the thing that is right for you.
Okay.
And in selling clothes, it's no good if I sell something to someone that they don't feel comfortable in, if they
Hmm.
don't wear, if they put it in their closet and say, "Well, I never wore that. I didn't I didn't enjoy it." That's not good for me as a salesperson.
Hmm.
It's not good for them. So if I hear that or find that, or somebody has what I call the lonely but lovely, I want to know, I want to know, okay, do you not just not have the right blouse for that? Did you not ever find the right pants for that? Do you not have the accessories to pull that all together? Because it might be perfectly lovely, but it sits there because you haven't made the effort to find the things that make it work for you. So
Hmm.
isn't I'm really not selling clothing. I'm
Yeah.
really selling a sense of self-confidence and ease, to make it easier to put things together. All that
Hmm.
clutter that you have in your closet of those things that are 2 years old and two decades out of style is not serving you. At least put it in a different closet. At least look at what you have that you can wear today. Somebody said, opening your closet should feel like going to a great party where everybody there is somebody you want to meet. Everybody there is a friend. And that's what I hope to accomplish with a closet audit is get rid of the fluff, get rid of the thing that you bought because your friend said it looked good on you, or that you spent a ton of money on because it was the current trend, or because your mom said it flattered you, or your mom said it didn't flatter you.
Right.
Get rid of all those mistakes that are just a toxic relationship that you have with the things in your closet. And then welcome in those friends that make you feel confident and once you have that set it and forget it, and you know
Mm.
you look great, there is brain chemistry that supports the fact that when we feel more confident, we're more productive, we show up better in the workplace, we're more collaborative. Uh,
Hmm.
all of that, you know how it feels if you're not feeling quite right and you just don't really want to engage and
Right.
nothing is feeling quite great, and you'd rather sit in your office than go out and engage with somebody. Or
Yep.
when you got that outfit, that killer outfit that you know you look great in, and you can't wait to get out and engage with people. It's doable. There's so many
Hmm.
things we can't control. This you can
Yeah.
control with a little effort and a little time and a
That
good,
is a good feeling when you have that perfect outfit
yeah.
and you're just like, oh, I want everybody to see me because I feel good. I know I look good.
No, I look good. And once that's set, then, that good feeling can be imparted to other people too,
Hmm. Oh,
that,
it definitely, it changes your whole day. I mean, creates, I mean, just that confidence and that way that you move and the way that you think. I mean, it's just you don't even realize you're kind of selling yourself and opportunities are happening and it's just a great day. I love that. I'm finding that as I get a little bit older, that two things. One is even though I have an enormous closet full of beautiful clothes, I still have my favorites that I tend to go to so often, and others just kind of gather a little bit of dust. And second, I don't like the clothes that make me fidget anymore. I just want if I'm always having to, fix a collar or wear a scarf that keeps sliding or a belt or I don't know. I'm always looking for something now for me. I'm like, I want to look great. I always call it fidgeting. I don't want to fidget today. I don't want to always have to reset, pull up a strap or like I always, yeah,
Here's my dictum for my clients. If you put
yeah,
something on and
yeah.
take it off in favor of something else because you
Hmm.
know you're going to fidget or because it's too short or it's too tight or
Hmm.
get rid of it. Do not you're always going to choose something else. And the truth of the matter is we wear 20% of our wardrobe
Oh my,
80% of the time. That's just truth.
yeah,
And invest in that 20%. Buy the absolute best quality you can buy, and then wear it to death. Change your accessories, change the top with the bottom, but
mhm,
wear it and enjoy it.
yeah,
It's really what I call the economy of buying well. When you invest in a piece that will last, um, you've made a good investment because you can invest in something that's less expensive, that you never feel as great in, that you will be replacing in a short amount of time. And in the end, if you buy that less expensive thing, let's say three times to the one piece that you have that is reliable and good and quality and classic, you've spent as much money and spent more time running around than you would have if you just bought that great piece and maybe would forgo some other less expensive pieces.
yeah.
Just invest in yourself, invest in you, and invest in the pieces that make you feel great.
Yeah, I agree. Those are some great pieces of advice. I hope that all of our listeners can hear us because that is phenomenal. I want to take you all the way back though, before you became working in fashion, let's say. When you were growing up, what did you think as we all grow up and we have goals? What was it that you hoped that you were going to be at one point?
You know, that's awfully far back, Sherry. That's very far back. And I actually went to college and got a degree in French and a
Okay.
teaching certificate. And really, the reason that I got the degree in French was because it was easy. Languages were easy for me. Um, and I really thought I was going to be an interpreter, but
Okay.
nobody advised me of the fact that most Europeans speak two and three and four languages, and having my one little French language wasn't going to be enough. So I graduated from college with this perfectly useless degree in French and a teaching certificate. And it was at the height of the Vietnam War, and there were no teaching jobs available. Men who went into teaching got deferments from going into the military. So teachers, men teachers, flooded uh, the teaching profession. And it was probably a good thing for me because totally by accident, I met somebody who was working with Pan Am. And he said, you know, with your language, and I spoke a little bit of German too, with your language and your college degree, you ought to interview with Pan Am. They're hiring. And so I interviewed and I got hired. And I spent 7 years flying internationally. Whenever I got on an airplane, I had my passport and I was going overseas. So that was, in many ways, a good precursor, seeing the world, seeing fashion in fashion capitals, Paris, London, Rome, and beyond, was a good precursor for my career. Um, and I fell into retail positions. I worked at Jacobson's when I was in college, so
Wow.
I was always a sort of a retail rat and enjoyed it then. To me, it's sort of like problem solving. You know, somebody comes in with a need, and to be able to go to the rack and choose those things to fill that need or that problem.
Mhm.
It still is. Someone comes in with an event, or maybe they're traveling and they want to craft a wardrobe that will serve them for those things. That's to me, it's a puzzle to be put
Mhm.
together and to then gratify and satisfy them with the choices that we make. Uh,
Pan Am, that brings me all the way back to, wasn't that the airline? It was very dressy though. I mean, that
Well,
sounds like you picked the right airline. I mean, you had to be so pristine and you had to wear, didn't you have to wear heels and skirts and
oh,
hair
absolutely.
perfect? And
This was
it was a
all
different time, but
was a different time, and I admit it, I have a difficult time when I go on an airplane and I see how people dress. I think that leggings should be outlawed. I have, I have a friend who says, she's another colleague who says, they suffer from LOM. So what's
Mhm.
LOM?
Yeah.
Lack of mirror.
Oh,
So they haven't looked behind them recently to
mm-hmm.
see what the view is that the rest of us have. And it isn't pretty a lot of times. So
So
anyway,
true.
because of the era that I first traveled in, because of the job that I had, and you're absolutely right, we had weight restrictions. We had, you couldn't, initially when I started, you couldn't be married. Um, oh yeah, I always say I'm so old they called us stewardesses. So
No stewardesses.
yeah, so that was before flight attendants. I did graduate to being a flight attendant, but that was kind of a good precursor into the fashion world and travel and to see the world. I think that was shaping in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell into retail. I was doing the leagues at Ramblewood Racket Club, and the gal who ran the pro shop quit. And the owner of the club came to me and said, could you run the pro shop? I said, I can spend your money, honey. I can do it. And I started with a shop of my own, ultimately at East Hills, and sort of had retail. And I met the woman who was doing Carlisle, who was serving clients with Carlisle, and
Okay.
worked briefly with her. And then she retired. And I had said to her, if you ever retire, I might be interested in owning the business. And that happened about 8 months after my first husband died, and my daughter was 5. And it enabled me to stay at home. And that was a gift to be able
Mm-hmm.
to own a business, to work hard, and uh, also to help other women. And
Mm-hmm. What
that's
were some of the toughest times that, well, I mean, losing your husband, of course, would not have been easy. Transitioning back into maybe more full-time work is maybe what you're kind of describing a little bit too. And it was nice that you have flexibility for your daughter, but everything couldn't have been perfect starting out the business. What were some of those obstacles that we would, just want to tell some of the other gals that are listening? Business owning has its perks, but it also, there's some negatives to it. You see them through, right? That's the perseverance of any
true.
business for success. But so tell us a little bit about what were some of those obstacles for you?
Well, I always say the good news is I'm in charge. The bad news is I'm in charge.
Right.
And when you're the only one, essentially, I wasn't running an operation big enough to have a lot of employees. I did have some gals who worked with me. I ultimately hired a bookkeeper, and I learned to do all of those things, but I also had to finally recognize that I couldn't do it all. And I think that is one of the biggest jobs that women have, that women face, is the inability to delegate, uh, to not recognize there are things that you don't have to do. I can do the bookkeeping, I just don't love it. I am a word girl, I'm not a numbers girl. My husband is a math guy, he can add numbers in his head. That's not me. I can write and edit and create copy and do advertising and all of that sort of thing, but my skills are not in the math area. But I think delegating is the hardest thing that any woman in business will ever have to do. Even if you don't own the business, um, I think that learning to offload some of those things that you don't have to do in favor of the things that you do well will advance your business. It will
Mhm.
advance what you do and how you do it. But it's not easy to learn. If you're used to doing it all yourself, as I was, it's a hard lesson to learn, but necessary.
Yeah, I think that we get the super mom or the super woman kind of thing where
Absolutely.
it's hard to ask for help
It is.
because it might show that we couldn't do something, or that's, I don't know. I mean, I think we all just get that stuck in us that we can do it all. We can stay up and only get 4 hours of sleep and we can just go, 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 and we can sign up for, things at the school to be there with our kids. And then there's a field trip and then you have to make cupcakes and then you have to do a little bit of work. I mean, we're balancing all these things and I think the delegation is really hard.
It is hard. And I also think, you know, um, another theme is perfectionism. If
Mhm.
somebody doesn't do it the way that we would do it, um, it's hard to let go sometimes. But I've also learned that you can learn things from the way somebody else does it. It might
Mhm.
not be the way that you would do it, but if it gets done, and gets done on a timely basis and it adds to the overall product, you're probably okay. If you're constantly fussing over, did they do it right? And am I going to oversee it to the point that you're doing it again?
Mhm.
Just you're just redoing what's being done for you. That's not useful. So I would say, for anyone in any position, whether you're a business owner or whether you're simply a woman with a job who has children at home who should be learning how to make dinner
Mhm.
or participating. You're not doing them any favors by doing everything for them. You might think you are, but you're
Mhm.
not teaching them the skills that they need. And
That's
so that's
true.
useful no matter where you are in this system.
How about the cliche? I think it's a cliche, let's say. You have to spend money to make money. And so I kind of think about that with the delegation because if you're delegating for somebody else, you're having to spend money to pay for their payroll, so to speak, to bring in this employee. But then by not doing what they're doing, you can put yourself out there to make more money. Did you find that in your business or do you agree with that mantra?
I do. I absolutely agree with that mantra. And I think sometimes when you're starting to make money and you think, oh, the account's going up, I don't want to take it down by hiring someone. But it misses the point that you can do more of what you do and do it well. And those are the moneymaker things. I was steaming and stuffing and delivering all of the clothes individually. I could do it, but I didn't need to be doing that. That kept me from meeting new people, getting out and uh, doing seminars and doing the things that would bring me business. I have a delightful stepdaughter who's an interior designer and she does amazing work. She's having a hard time letting go of some of the little things so that she can make that high dollar an hour fee that she deserves. She doesn't need to be delivering pillows or picking them up from the upholsterer,
Sure.
but it's hard to let go. And she is a perfectionist. She does a wonderful job. But to know that you can make that high dollar fee that you command if you
Hmm.
have more hours to make that high dollar fee. If you're spending your time driving out to the upholsterer, going to pick up XYZ, you're not working with those high value clients that
Right.
will undergird your whole operation. So
Yeah,
it,
that is true. We have to really search for what is the money maker
mhm.
and then let others help you in that area.
Yeah.
You had talked about, and if you're able to share, because you started your career in Carlisle, it sounds like you grew your clientele up where you had others under you that helped out. But at one point, did you retire or did you shift lines due to something that happened within? How did that work? And or share as much as you can, like the height
Sure.
and the bounce.
Yeah. I loved working with Carlisle. It was a beautiful line of clothing, of women's clothing, designer clothing, and it enhanced many, many women and clients over the years. I got to the point, my husband retired, and I got to the point where I thought I should retire too. And I sold the business, and the two gals that took it over were not particularly interested in carrying on the business. And uh, so they let it slide. And about a year later, I had several clients who came to me and said, it was post-COVID. Um, I haven't bought anything. I don't know what to do. I need new clothes. I wish you'd come back. And I thought to myself, I can do this not in the same full time because I'm my own boss. I can do it in a new way
Yeah.
that serves the people that I enjoy being with and working with. And so I took the Carlisle line back. Unfortunately, with tariffs over the last year, uh, Carlisle line, which had been in business, gosh, 45 years,
Wow.
imploded because of tariffs, and it is no longer. And
Oh, man.
it's heartbreaking because it was. Well, this industry serves a lot of women entrepreneurs, allows them to be their own bosses, and to not have that opportunity or have that opportunity taken away was really distressing to see. In the meantime, Lafayette 148 is another beautiful line of designer women's clothing, and they had been contacting me for quite some time. Several of my colleagues had transitioned to that line. The thing I love about Lafayette 148, it's a company that's owned by women, it's run by women, and it's
Okay.
for women. And
Yeah.
the corporate culture really is amazing. It really is amazing. It's a great place to work. They make every effort to support us, and um, I just have to ask, and they support me. I asked them to send me some, they have a range of clothing. They have extended sizes. So they have petites and then they have extended sizes, which not a lot of lines do. So I have, I think it's 36 different sizes that I can
Wow.
present. And I had not been able to serve my petite clients very well previously. So I asked the company, would you send me three petite jackets and four petite pants? This is outside of my trunk show. I have a client that I would like to bring these to her office so that she can try these on and see how well they fit. No problem.
Wow.
They sent them to me. It's that kind of support
Mm-hmm.
that makes me love this company.
Mm-hmm.
It's very classic. It's beautiful, beautiful fabrics, beautiful tailoring. And it is those kinds of investment pieces. Um, if you're going to buy one beautiful white shirt that you're
Yeah.
going to wear day after day after day, buy a good white shirt, make it tailored. And then my other all-time tip is get a tailor. Women tend to shop and shop and shop and shop, trying to find a pair of pants that fit them now, a
Mm-hmm.
blouse that fits them now. If we had models' bodies, we'd all be on the runway in New York, but
Yeah.
and so every client, I had at one point close to 300 clients. I had one woman who was a perfect size 8, who didn't have to have anything shortened, who didn't have to have her sleeves shortened, who walked into it.
That's amazing.
Perfect 8. She should have
Yeah.
been on on the runway in New York. And she's maintained that body. Everybody else, all the rest of us, either have to have a nip or tuck somewhere. And you can spend your life looking for that perfect fit, or you can
Mm-hmm.
go to a good tailor and get an item that you love tailored to fit you.
Mm-hmm.
And a good tailor is worth its weight in gold, for sure. We're not
That
talking
is.
seamstress. It's not just somebody who can shorten the sleeves or shorten the hems. We're talking somebody who knows construction, who for me is going to lift the shoulders a little bit and maybe have to cut down the sleeves, the
Yeah.
armhole. She knows exactly how to fit me to take it in at the top and let it out at the bottom because I have a pear shape. So I have to contend with that. And so does
Hmm.
everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to find some of those perfect clothing. Most of the time, it's just too long for me. It's just always too long. I need to shorten it up. Or, I mean, I'm sure
And
that's the same for a lot of people.
easy
Hmm.
fix. Instead of walking away saying, well, it's too long, buy it if you love the color and the fit and everything else and have it shortened. That is such a small um, tailoring
Yeah.
alterations, tiny.
Yep.
I had an attorney client who bought jackets for me to go to court for years, and the sleeves were always too long. And I finally said, "Give me those. I'm taking them to the tailor. I can't have you out there in the public with people thinking I dressed you and you look like you're wearing your mother's clothing. We can't have this." It's an easy fix.
Or I'll have to fire you as a client.
Exactly. Or don't tell anybody I dressed you, please.
Sure. Yeah, either way. Let me ask you really quick, is there ever been anything like a TED Talk or a podcast, one that you love or one that girls might not know of or ladies that might not know of that could be beneficial to them for styling or accessorizing or determining their style? Is there something out there that you've enjoyed or that we could share with some of the gals that are listening?
Well, when you asked me about a TED Talk that I remembered, I went back to Brene Brown
Yeah.
and the most famous TED Talk of hers that really launched her career was about being authentic. And when you're authentic, you're vulnerable. And so I think that's a TED Talk worth revisiting.
Hmm.
And being authentic is what I like to strive for with my imaging clients is for them to find that space where how they feel on the inside is reflected on the outside. So there's perfect integration. So from a really more global perspective, I would go back to Brene Brown and listen to that very first TED Talk because she brings a certain vulnerability about recognizing also that you are enough. And
Hmm.
that has a lot to do with how we present in the world as well. And I think that coming to that place of recognizing you are enough at this weight, at this hair color, uh,
At
you
this
are
age.
at this age, exactly. You are enough. And you
Hmm.
deserve to dress well at any age, at any
Yeah,
stage of your life. And don't put it off thinking when I lose 10 pounds, I'll buy a new dress. When I lose 10 pounds, I'll get a better wardrobe. It's now, it's right now.
right now. Well, so tell me, how would people have access to, do you have, you don't have a storeroom per se, right?
No, I do not.
I shouldn't say storeroom, a storefront is what I
I do
meant,
not
but
have a storefront. I do trunk shows 4 times
okay,
a year. I
okay,
bring the clothing in, a line of clothing from Lafayette 148, 4 times a year, and then I make private one-on-one appointments. I do have a website, stephaniemcnamara.net, and you
okay,
can access more about me there. I will have a trunk show coming up the end of July and the first week of August.
okay.
And I tell people it's like going to any boutique. Some days you walk in and all the colors are your colors and all the styling looks right for you. Other times you
Mm.
go in, the colors aren't right,
Yeah.
it's too floral, it's not floral enough. And
Mm.
you walk in, if it's not right, you leave. People, I think, have a misperception if they come into your home, and I do
Hmm.
this in my home, that they must buy. And as I said before, there is no bigger disservice to you and to me than having you buy something that you don't love. And that is not my goal. I want to learn who you are, who you want to be, who you want to present. And when we come to understand that together, then I can help you to show who you are to the world. And so visiting a trunk show shouldn't be problematic for anyone. Know
Hmm.
that I'm not pushy unless it's something I think you really would miss out on. And I have had instances where I've had clients come back to me and say, I'm so thankful that you suggested this because I've worn it and worn it and worn it. I'm so happy that I took this on my trip because it was my most favorite thing. If I'm really committed that it is for you, it might be a little pushy, but in general, I I want you to feel comfortable in your skin and in your clothing and be as authentic as you can be.
When you say trunk show, is it, and you mentioned appointment, is it just one person coming at a time, or do you have several ladies that might come and shop a little bit together?
I don't generally do that because
Okay.
the one-on-one attention is what I have built my business on.
Okay.
And I find that in a group, we might do, I've done something called a sip and see, maybe of an evening, invited a group of female attorneys or other professionals to come and take a look. There isn't a lot of shopping that gets done then because there's sample sizes and I know the line well enough to help people find what they need. It's not the best way to approach a trunk show, quite
Okay.
frankly, and so I prefer appointments one-on-one and I block out time for you to learn what your needs are, what the holes are in your wardrobe. That's one of the things that a closet audit will do. It will help you to focus on, oh, I have this jacket, but I've never found the right pair of pants. That goes on your list of things that we'll shop for instead of doing what so many of us do. We go out and buy the same black top over again. And you get home and realize you have not bought the white blouse that you really needed. So making a list and
Hmm.
sticking to it and filling in so that you get that functional, reliable wardrobe that reflects who you are and that are those guests at the party that you want to make contact with and be in relationship with, not the ones that we're taunting us over in the corner that we aren't the two sizes smaller that we used to be. Those are the ones we need to let go of and focus on who we are now.
Well, so let's talk about the closet audit. And there's a couple things that, as you share the closet audit, then here's what I'd also like to hear if you remember, or I'll remind you, is when we get rid of things, where are the best places to get rid of them? Where could be some resources for that? And what is the one thing that you find that women have that they just need to get rid of?
Well, yeah, the closet audit is an opportunity for you to focus on yourself, to see what works and what doesn't, and to remove those things that don't. And as I said, to create that checklist, that shopping list, so that you will start to have a functional wardrobe. Um, Places to give away or donate. I am not fond of resale shops only because you don't get very much money for them. Um, there are a couple in town. I'm not very fond of them. I would rather see good clothing go to the Women's Resource Center
Okay.
or to Goodwill. I'm a big proponent of Goodwill. There's a lot of misinformation about Goodwill out there, but it's a really good organization that does a lot of good for our community, that does a lot of good for people attempting to return to the workforce. It really is a hand up, not a handout. And people are learn to work in those facilities, those Goodwill stores or to get other skills that they can take to become functioning members of society. Goodwill is a really good organization. Right at the moment, I'm on the board of the Cherry Health Foundation. And
Oh,
the Cherry Health Foundation is a community um, foundation. It's the largest federally qualified health center in Western Michigan with 20 locations. 700 employees, and we serve uh, dental, vision. I may not get them all. There's seven. Dental, vision, prenatal, women's health, behavioral health. There are school programs, and there's one other that I've missed, but all of that supports a healthier, better community. This next fall, a group of us who are on the foundation board are putting together a resale opportunity. So if you're
Oh,
interested, I can have somebody contact me. I should have probably gotten the Cherry Health number. We are doing a resale of better clothing, classy curated. We're calling it cherry picked, and we're collecting clothing now. You get a uh, tax form, so you can
okay.
deduct it from your taxes and know that it goes to supporting the community for underserved and underinsured and uninsured people, but also just people in the community can go to the pharmacy, can go to their dental and vision clinics. It's a wonderful underpinning for a healthy community. And I'm on the committee that's doing this wonderful opportunity. It's the first, and all of the money is going to Cherry Help. So,
That sounds like a great opportunity. They can, look at your website and be able to see or contact you for the auditing of the closet. And
yes,
then right now, what a perfect opportunity. I mean, you mentioned some really great um, um, charities that could really benefit, but even the one that you're talking about with Cherry Health, I mean, it sounds like that would be a right now if you're collecting today that people could
right
really
now.
slim down that closet, which we all should be doing. It might be a little hard for some that are now finding their kids at home for the summer, but if you can carve out an hour of that superwoman schedule, it'd be great to thin that closet a little bit. But how about that one item that maybe women have that maybe we just shouldn't? You mentioned leggings.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm not fond of leggings.
I can't imagine you in leggings, Stephanie.
Oh, I own them. But I would not allow my derriere to show the light of day. I would have something long enough,
Oh, sure. There you go.
long enough to do that. Uh, Gosh, I guess once again, it would be those items, all of those items that are two sizes too small and 2 decades old. The things that aren't going to fit you and probably never will, at least put them in another closet and focus on what serves you now. I
Yeah.
once did a closet audit, and this woman shared a closet with her husband. It was a big closet, and they had their paper wrapping, all of their paper wrapping in
Oh, like the gift wrap?
gift wrap in the walk-in closet. They had a guitar in this clothing. It's a big house with other opportunities. And they also had costumes, Halloween costumes that they wore every year. And they took up a fair amount of space.
Sure.
They wore them once a year and they were in their working closet. So create a working closet, get rid of the things that don't belong in there,
Yeah.
put the guitar in another closet, put the costumes in the basement, and go get them that once a year, but don't let them take up space in your working closet. Understand this is your working closet. This is what
Yeah.
you work with every day, and it needs to be things that you will wear, not those things that you might wear, not those things that you could have, should have worn. Um, and get rid of the pieces that you spent a lot of money on, but
Yeah.
you're never going to wear. That's no economy. Give them to someone now who can enjoy them
Enjoy them. Yeah.
and
I
get
think
that feeling.
that is I really think that this advice had come from you. Correct me if I'm wrong, but seems like you had told me at one time years ago to turn all of your clothes around backwards in your closet, the
Yeah,
hangers, like
if
flip
you
it.
take, yeah, if you take the hangers and reverse them from the way that you would ordinarily put them on the bar and reverse them at the end of the season, if you find, look at those that are still the wrong way, if you will, and decide, did you not wear them because they don't fit, or because you don't have they're lonely but lovely, you don't have the right things to go with them, or they need to be shortened, or the buttons need to be fixed, or you're just never going to wear them. They don't suit your life or your style or your authenticity. Look hard at those pieces. You can help to do your own closet audit in that way. But my number one thing is if you put something on and take it off in favor of something else, even though it fits, it might look okay. If it doesn't fill your soul, if it doesn't make you feel the way you want to feel in the world, get rid of it. Do not hang on to it. Don't even put it in that second closet because you're never ever going to wear it. Don't do it.
Don't even do it. You're going to put an alarm on the,
Don't do it.
you'll know. Well, as a business owner, is there anything or one more thing or something that you could share with our listeners, just because you've given us so many good pieces about just confidence and what to wear and what to get rid of kind of thing. But owning a business is really challenging, and that's what with this podcast I really want to be able to talk to everybody about owning that business and the ups and the downs, and maybe there's a success that you even want to share with us, because you had some transitions obviously in life, and going into the world of Carlisle not being here today was kind of, that's a big downer. So there's been ups and downs. Is there any final words that you could leave with our listeners before we go to the next segment?
In thinking about that, one of the great joys of being in Carlisle was the opportunity to recruit. There was a program they called the Master Consultant Program. And tooting my own horn, talking about my success, I recruited more women to come to the business than anybody else. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Woo!
I loved that. I loved seeing women come into their own with their own businesses. I loved promoting that opportunity. It's a great opportunity to be your own boss and to help those women not have to reinvent the wheel by giving them some of the wisdom that I had. And as I mentioned to you, I also learned from them as I saw them grow their businesses and saw how they did things. That was a great learning experience for me. So I think if you get the chance to mentor in business, I think you never learn as well as when you teach. And so you can learn about the pieces of your business that are important to impart. And you can also listen to those who are coming up in the field and see what they have to offer because their perspective will be different. So I feel as though I learned as much from those women as I was able to give. And that mentoring opportunity was really a great experience for me. I think that's why I've been so drawn to community service, the Cherry Health and women's, the Girls Choral Academy is something that's been near and dear to my heart. Years ago, I worked with the West Michigan Tennis Association and helping to help others, and that I think is a worthwhile endeavor in life. And if, as a businesswoman, you can help to mentor others, I highly recommend it. You'll learn as much as you are able to teach.
That was kind of a little goosebump moment, honestly, for me, because so often as I've been able to have women on here with me, they've talked about how a mentor for them made all the difference in them starting a business and having somebody come right along next to them, and really they owe a lot of gratitude to them. What was different for you is you enjoyed being the mentor, and I think that is so important as well, to be able to potentially give back. But for you, you're saying you learned a lot by being a mentor.
Absolutely.
And that's a whole new perspective. I really love to hear that. That's really cool. Well, we're going to transition, but before we continue, if you're enjoying these conversations with women who are building businesses or making an impact and sharing their stories, please subscribe, like, and share this podcast. I'd love to be able to get their stories out there to so many more. And now this is the fun part, at least for me. Stephanie, you don't know these questions, but
Okay.
they're always kind of fun. The lightning round is, I don't have a timer, but they're kind of meant to be just more off the cuff and first thing that comes to mind. So, what is your favorite accessory of all time?
Ooh, I have a necklace that I really love. And it's one that I looked at many times in the store and didn't pull the trigger on purchasing because I thought it was out of my range. And I came back another time and I thought it was gone. And as it turned out, it was actually on sale. So
Oh,
I
great.
recognized that was a sign from God that I should own that.
You
So
had to get it.
I had to get it. It was a necklace that I wore and wore and wore. That's probably my favorite accessory of all
Oh,
time.
well, it has to be if you can remember it that quick.
I
That's
can
good.
remember it.
How about heels, flats, or sneakers? Or can you or do you wear them all?
I do wear them all. I don't wear the super high heels I once wore. And I don't, if I wear a higher heel, I want it to be a block heel. I don't want
Oh,
to tire. But yeah, sneakers, comfortable sneakers, stylish sneakers, flats. As I get shorter, I don't wear as many flats. So I still want to appear taller in the world. But yeah, I wear them
absolutely.
all. I wear them all. There's a place for all of them in different outfits. So yeah,
Well, I don't like flats either. I have a really hard time with them.
I do too.
One fashion trend you'd love to see disappear forever.
Well, we've already covered it.
Showing your derriere in a pair of
Yeah,
leggings.
exactly. Leggings flatter so few women, and
Mhm.
they're just not necessary. Wear them at home, but
Yeah.
don't wear them in the airport, please.
Especially not on Pan Am.
Yeah.
What was the oldest item in your closet, or what do you have that is your oldest item that you won't get rid of?
I have a
Maybe
beautiful
classic.
Yeah, I have a beautiful leather jacket that is still classic. It's still in beautiful shape. I like to travel in leather because
Mm.
it doesn't stain. It tends to adapt to the weather. I've never been on an airplane that wasn't cold, so
Oh,
having a nice leather jacket
hmm.
is great. And cool nights in Florida or California, you can always use a leather jacket. So that I probably won't get rid of.
So that makes me think that leather doesn't have a season. Because if you're wearing it in some heated places, you can pull it off anytime.
I believe that.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
Mhm.
good. Hey, if anybody's listening, I just that's good advice now because I'm pulling out all the leather. And if you could instantly raid one person's closet, past or present, who would
Ooh,
it be?
you know, I am old enough that it probably would be Jackie Kennedy,
I
but
knew it. That just seemed like you. Yeah.
well, it's classic, and classic just stays. Right now it probably might be Kate, Princess Kate.
Oh, yeah.
She's also classic, and
Very classic.
classic will stand the test of time. So, yeah.
I agree with that. I think that's a really, those are two great people, but I don't know, maybe it's the blue you have on today that made me think of Jackie O's famous blue jacket, that she had, but it just seems so great. Okay, well, I think we are just about ready to wrap up. And so if there was one final thing that you would want to share, Stephanie, do you have any final words before we wrap up today?
Again, I think emphasizing being authentic, being who you are, and allowing that to shine through is a gift that you give to the world and a gift that you give to yourself. When you stop trying to be something else, what your mother told you, what Instagram tells you, what fashion magazines tell you, and you integrate who you are with who you present to the world. You give a gift and you receive the gift of self-confidence and poise and impact. There's a lot to be said for how you dress, and it is something you have complete control over.
Well, in addition, as I reflect over our time together today too, I always like to point out something that really resonated with me. And I look for it throughout the whole conversation. And I think there were really many, but the one that I'm going to stay, excuse me, stay true to is what you just said about mentoring. Because I don't know why that touched me so much differently, but it wasn't that you were being mentored. You are the mentor, and that you are learning through that process of mentoring others. And I think that is something that we can all reflect on because we don't have to hold ourselves back from being that person to somebody else. And so I thought, I don't know, that one just stuck with me so much. And thank you for sharing that. So, Stephanie, thank you for sharing your story, your business, and your passion with us today. You remind us that style isn't really about clothing at all. It's about confidence. You say that so much today, and authenticity, I've heard you say, and giving ourselves permission to show up as the person we are today, not the person we're hoping to be. We really have to own ourselves. So thank you, Stephanie, for sharing your story. And today you shared it beautifully. And always remembered she came, she spoke, and she inspired. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.